What was your what have I become moment? Past a mirror and realized that I always wear a shabby old cardigan just like my mother. I've become mom. No. Staying up all night even though my unemployed butt had an interview the next day. The day I discovered the delicious abomination that is dunking pizza rolls in salsa con queso dip. I ate close to 40 pizza rolls that day. As I spent that night sitting on my toilet, head in my hands, I contemplated what I had done and what I had become. 10/10 would do it again. I ate 19 taquitos the other day just to prove to myself that I could. I don't even like taquitos that much. I ate a dog biscuit yesterday. Being walked in on by my brother while putting tattoo cover up on my areola to see what I would look like without areolas. 3 AM. Suffering alcohol withdrawal. Threw out an old bottle of booze earlier. Grabbed my kid's toy flashlight. Jumped in the dumpster while pushing garbage aside. Looked up at the moon and thought, WTF. Jacked off in my car while driving to get coffee. When I was sitting in the parking lot at the pawn store, I was holding my mom's wedding ring and ready to go in and score a couple grand on it. I had it all planned out because she had already thought she dropped it down her sink drain. I was sitting in the car when I saw a young couple with their 2 kids who were probably 8 and 10. They were so excited walking out of the mess stop with their new video game. I thought back to when I was that age as an innocent kid. Then massive amounts of memories flooded my mind of all the happy times with my parents, and it all ended up coming out of me with tears streaming down my face. I never knew my addiction would take me that far. I took the ring home and found it for my mom. A couple months later I checked into rehab. I've been clean for over a year now and never look back. Last night a friend came to my room to ask if I had some food because he was so hungry that he couldn't sleep. I said I didn't have any because I wanted to keep it all for myself. Just when he left, I started feeling terrible. I immediately called him back and we had the food together. I can be such a jerk sometimes. This one can go either way for me. What have I become? All this is awesome. 27 years old. Friends are getting married, having kids. I bought an old RV to drive cross country because it would be a fun adventure. Pretty much all living amenities broke down and I had a long run of pooping in wombats. Moving from McDonald's to Starbucks throughout the day to plug in and work. At least I've been working. And at one point got a week gym membership as the most economical way to shower. Well, at least I worked out as a result. Discreet parking and sleeping at times. A cop woke me up at 3 AM and treated me like a homeless person. In my mind it's not homeless. It's an epic road trip. I once spent a whole weekend watching House MD on my laptop in my bed. I only ate Doritos during 2 days. I went out the bed only to go to the bathroom. When my 2 roommates came back they were shocked. They still talk about it. I see you're 2 days in bed watching House eating Doritos and raise you 3 days in bed watching Gossip Girl and eating Doritos. Told my roommate I was ill. Yeah. I have an econometrics final tomorrow. It's 1 in the morning and I'm on my 3rd bag of Lay's with fastest ways to get high open in a tab. So I'd say right now is my moment. My wife is leaving me. After 8 years of marriage, I now realize that I have no friends of my own at all. Not one. I have alienated everyone who ever loved me and become a social pariah. And now I have no idea how to make new friends or meet women. How did I do this to myself without even noticing? You find the one person that satisfies all of these categories, in this case, your wife, so you simply cease looking for new friends. It sucks, but social life is like a sport. You need to work out and exercise to stay in top form. Don't worry, it will come back to you. Just go out there. Class is permanent, as they say. Serious response. My mother is a narcissist, stole over $3,000 from me when I was a child, and is a generally unpleasant person to be around. I don't talk to or see her anymore. Understandably, I just heard from my dad that my older brother thinks I'm becoming just like her. I feel so lost and I kind of hate myself. Walking in a field at night in my pajamas, searching by flashlight for 2 fainting goats named Llama and Whale. I'm gonna need more than that. I wasn't super social or popular in school, but the moment I thought this was when I realized I had a stereotype douchebag day. Gym in the morning, 2 protein shakes, booty call with a FWB, many cigarettes, ended with a rave in which I wore only a tank top and short shorts and was off my face MDMA the whole time. It was that moment I realized I'd become the guy I used to hate so much. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself make sick gains, bruh. When I was up late doing my supplementary form for university after a few hours of video gaming, and I was struggling to write stuff about my extracurriculars, experiences, and literature I read, I realized I wasted my life on the internet with no results. I've always thought I would never become one of those losers, but here I am. I just ate 6.5 slices of Detroit-style pizza. My stomach is so full, I'm hyperventilating, and my lactose intolerance isn't helping too much. Typing this while sitting on a toilet. Edit. Make that 7. I have a good one. My best friend is gay. When he lived near me, we used to frequent the gay bars together. After a few years, he moved across the country and I only get to see him every other year or so. A few years ago, I went to visit him. Now, he's in a long-term relationship, so he no longer hits up the singles bars and such, but we decided it would be fun for the 3 of us, me, him and his partner, to hit up the gay bars for the sake of nostalgia. We get to the bar, have a few drinks and talk to some people. My friend's friend, who is transgender, comes in and joins us. I learn that he's a very well-paid escort. About an hour into drinking and laughing, he says, "You guys wanna do some blow now?" I don't normally indulge, but I was like, frick it, I'm on vacation. We go into the bathroom together to do a line, but there were no surfaces on which to do it. So, the escort bends over, pulls his spandex skirt down a bit and says, "Here, just do it off my back." Only, it wasn't really his back, it was closer to his butt. As I was snorting a line off this HS butt in the bathroom of a gay bar, I thought, WTF am I doing with my life? Crap, I was beginning to think that I had nothing to aspire to. Thanks for helping me set new goals in life. When I kill people because I am bored in GTA V. I got a new phone after 6 years of pay-as-you-go throwaways, and when I got home I realized pressing the volume down button wouldn't put it on silent no matter how many times you pressed it. I had to ask the phone how to put itself on silent. 3 weeks ago at my daughter's first dance competition of the year, I kept pulling her aside during practice and giving her critiques on her routine. She's 6. After my OMG I'm nuts realization, I now escort her to the dressing room and leave. I'm not subjecting her to my crazy anymore during competition season. When I realized I attempt to justify my addictions in every possible instance. Hooking up with 3 different guys in one day and realizing I can't frick my way out of a lonely heart. When I programmed into the next morning and went into Dunkin' Donuts at like 5, looking like an absolute slob. All the disgusting looks from the staff for just a cheap cup of coffee. On the bright side, I finally got the dang inventory system to work. I used to be a social recluse. This morning I found myself heading home on a train after being out all night. I like who I have become. A while back I started drawing fat fetish art. It's a kink of mine. And in less than a week the DeviantArt account I set up had already become more popular than my regular account that I had for years. The endorphin rush from being so popular so quickly was great, but eventually I had a few realizations. I really didn't want anyone IRL finding out about it, meaning that I awkwardly had to find times to draw when nobody was around. I mostly drew regular art, and want to pursue that as a career, and absolutely did not want to get any fetish stuff. Even something as mild as this character but fat, associated with my name. The idea of making money with commissions was interesting, and many followers said they'd potentially be interested in buying commissions, but I got cold feet because I haven't even been commissioned for my regular stuff. Plus, unless I did some weird money laundering thing, I'd have to give out my email for PayPal and I didn't want that potential connection. Occasionally I'd get weird comments. People writing really long-winded 5-star feedback on a mediocre pic. Folks RPing. Unsolicited WhatsApp. Working on anything PMs. Requests for me to draw even fatter characters or draw different kinks altogether. Anyways, eventually I was hit with that what have I become moral panic. Although I suppose it was more like what I could become. In any event, I deleted my account and stopped drawing that stuff. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't weirdly proud of it, in a way. Internet fame, even that tiny taste I got, is a weird thing, man. If people want something, someone's gotta make it. This is also the crux of the issue in crap jobs. Someone has to do them. Not saying you were wrong to stop, as the stigma and ramifications are real, and some people want to avoid that. It's Marizo against people who scoff at or judge on the issue. Tried to convince my cousin to moon me just so I could see his butt, and maybe some sack. Nice. Honestly, turning 25 and working a desk 8-5 job in my degrees field. I'd been working at the same company in my hometown for 2 years. My uncle's the CEO, straight out of college, and I just felt everything in my life was going down such a predictable path. I felt so sedentary, so I quit. I'm still here for the summer doing demolition. I love it, and I've set a date for the 1st of October as my departure. Destination unknown as of yet. My roommate knows. He is glad for the heads up. I'm fairly confident I can land a job in most places with my experience and skill set, so the only question now is where. Maybe even abroad for a few months. I open for suggestions. In Skyrim, I tried to be as good as possible. After getting killed by a giant a few times, my frustration boiled over. I killed everyone in Whiterun. I was looking at the bodies and said, "What have I done?" I cried. I'm still not emotionally over it. That's what saves are for. It was a beautiful day. Sun was out. The sky was like a giant bright sapphire gem and there wasn't a single cloud in the sky. The temp was warm enough that you could walk around in a t-shirt and shorts and not feel chilly if there's a bit of a breeze. I was sitting outside on the curb during my lunch break, eating my sandwich and staring blankly out across the parking lot, mind completely burned out from the endless stream of bulls, knowing that I have less than 20 minutes to recuperate before dealing with more bulls, and then coming back tomorrow with another fake smile on my face and chipper tone and more bulls. And it's only Monday and God knows how many more weeks of bulls. I can't even think anymore. Anyway, as I'm sitting there, my mind is numb, staring at the cars passing by. This couple walks by. They are smiling. They are happy. You can just tell they're in love with each other. The way they look at each other, their genuine smiles, the comfortable way they walk together, everything. It was perfect. It was their beautiful moment. Walking through the parking lot as a couple. Beautiful summer day. It was perfect. I saw that, and immediately I thought, frick you. What the frick kind of life do you live where you can enjoy today? How the frick do you have a day off and can walk around and smile and walk around with your boyfriend? I get to see my boyfriend a few times a month. How the frick do you get to see him today? That was when I realized how unhappy I was. I never would have thought this before in my life. I never have. No matter what happened to me, I always enjoyed nature. I could always look at the sky and take a breather and remember that life is beautiful. And somehow, I'd gotten to the point where I'd look at someone else and just immediately make hateful, spiteful judgments about their entire life just because I was so unhappy with myself. I'm still trying to keep myself day after day from becoming the kind of person I'd hate to be. A cynical, hateful person whose initial reaction to other people is to judge them without benefit of the doubt. I got way too into a game of D&D with my friends. It was the start of a new campaign. I rolled 6 straight 20s, making me do insanely stupid feats. I ran down a carriage pulled by horses, one hit the bandit leader, single-handedly picked up a giant tree trunk blocking the path, jumped onto my carriage as it was speeding by, and sacrificed my whole party by blowing up the carriage and jumping off. When I had to notify a family they were being evicted for a bull's reason. For most of my childhood I was quiet and didn't have friends. Once I finally opened up, I became friends with a horrible group of people. All they cared about was drugs and freaking, which at the time seemed awesome. I started failing out of high school and didn't care about what I was doing to myself. After a year and a half of that, I found myself curled up in a corner crying on floor because of my abusive boyfriend. My friends were in the next room high on coke acting like nothing was happening. What the heck have I let myself become? A week after that I stopped doing drugs, left my friend group, left high school and started a college program that allowed me to get my high school diploma and get college credits. I got straight A's, Found an amazing supportive boyfriend of 2 years and started my aviation maintenance technology transfer degree at my community college. I have been sober for 3 years. I don't regret anything. I am just glad I learned my lesson. I was ironing some cloths and I thought my dish towels would look so good freshly pressed. And I did it. My life is so boring. Over the past year, I've lost over 100 pounds and gained a ton of strength and endurance. During one of my meetings with a dietitian about 4 or 5 months into my weight loss, I mentioned how I'd virtually collapse about a half hour into working out. Based on what I was eating, she determined I wasn't getting enough carbohydrates, particularly before working out, and that we had to increase my intake some because I am an athlete. After being dumbfounded for about 2 minutes, I realized, holy profiteroles, Batman, she's right. I went to visit a pro in Cole. I got there and a middle-aged Asian woman opened the door and I went in. She said she was the girl from the ad, even though the girl from the ad was about 19. I went into the bedroom with her trying to figure out what to do. I decided I couldn't go through with it and should just leave, so I politely said I'm going to leave because your photos are fake. She tried to persuade me otherwise but I got up and started to leave anyway. As I got to the front door I heard a child about 6 or 7 crying and thought WTF. Turned around and peering around the corner of the corridor was a young girl crying and saying mama, number, no, mama repeatedly. Bear in mind I live in London and this was a nice area, so it kind of freaked me out because it was like being in a scene in a movie set in a ghetto somewhere. I just left but felt like crap for a few days. I pressed a button on Reddit. Watched my friend's kids all under 5 while she and some other people huffed glue in the bathroom and waited my turn. After going in several times over the course of a few hours to ask when my turn was and telling her that her kids were asking for her and crying, which they were, and not getting much of a response or promises of in a few minutes, I dragged her out and we noped the frick out of the house we were at. Watching her ignore her kids for getting high on glow made me decide that moment that I would never do it and told her if I found out about her doing it again I'd call CPS on her. When I told her about her not giving a crap about her kids while huffing she cried. I drew some pretty hard lines about drug use for me that day. Total what the frick am I doing, what have I become moment. So I rented a townhouse basement about 5 or 6 years ago, was near my work and what I could afford at the time. I'm normally pretty cool with spiders, but I'm pretty sure this townhouse was previously some kind of spider zoo. The spiders were varied and innumerable. So anyway, I'm living there about a month with constant wolf spider and other spider sightings, but generally I'm leaving them alone and assuming as the space is more lived in they'll go away. Then one morning I wake up with a wolf spider sitting on my chest looking me in the face. That spider died, but the piece remained. This was strike 1 though. A few days later and I'm taking a shower and bam, wolf spider bouncing off my shoulder for some reason. Strike 2. Strike 3 was almost 2 weeks later. Early in the morning, getting dressed, something hits my head. I reach up and find something bulbous and slick and big, creepy, not wolf spider. This is strike 3. I rampage clean through my house and kill every spider I find. Literally over 50 the first go through. And I repeat the process with lesser results every day, amassing a body count in the hundreds over the next few weeks. Finally the Spider King appears. He's huge, the bulbous abdomen over an inch in length and glossy black with a bizarre pattern on his back. I decide to make an example of their lord. I scooped him up in a dustpan, tossed him in the yard, and sprayed his abdomen with gold spray paint so that the others could see that I'd marked him. Also so if I ever saw another one I'd know if it was him coming back for revenge. After returning from work the spiders had left a message of their own. A single, moderate-sized spider hanging at eye level off a strand of web right inside the door. Knowing the war was escalating, I realized I had to improve my arsenal. I drove to Home Depot and bought 6 cans of Raid Spider and Centipede spray. It's the one with the black lid, black for death. I sprayed 3 whole cans throughout my smallish basement, and watched with glee as the few spiders I saw literally curled up and died before my eyes. Triumphant, I then sat down on my computer and booted up League of Legends. As I talked with my friends and played a few games I started to feel a little bad though. My eyes were hurting but I didn't think too much about it. My nose was feeling stuffy, and I went to get a tissue. Blowing it I got nothing but dark blood. What had I become? I nearly sacrificed myself in a psychotic attack on the Spider Legions. I was so caught up in my victory I didn't even think for the obvious damage I could do to myself. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.